The date is June 1st, 2015. This is the Love, Unity, Patience Project audio. I am a founder and president of Love, Unity, Patience Project. And what that is, it's for more love, more unity, more patience among black people all over this nation. I would like everyone to listen to this tape that I made. It was a year ago. And I just want to say that we have a long way to go to bring more love, unity, and patience to our communities. But the question to everyone is, why do black people hurt and kill each other more than any other race in America? And I would like your opinion. And here's a tape that was made this time last year. But another thing I want to say, slavery. No one wants to talk about it, but black people of America and America, we need to have this conversation in order for us black people to heal. We are suffering from slavery and the after effects, and we need to talk about that decently and in order. Again, the question to everyone is, why do black people hurt and kill each other more than any other race in America? Thank you for listening. Today is May 18th, 2014. This is a tape that I hope will resonate across this nation. It's about the black experience in America. And before I continue, I would like to say this tape is for humanity, but it is directed to black people, my people. This is about trying to foster more love, unity, and patience in our communities all across this nation. What I'm about to say is controversial. A lot of people will not agree, and that's why I want to make clear this is my opinion and my opinion alone. First and foremost, there's no greater issue or challenge facing Black America than the level of violence that plagues our communities all across this nation. A parent's worst nightmare is have to bury their child. But in black communities across America, this is a common occurrence. Nationwide, we are losing far too many black people to senseless violence. How frustrating it must be for the dedicated people out in the street every day trying to bring more love, unity, and patience to our communities, still see the level of violence continue. Since Easter weekend, and as I said, this is May 18, 2014, less than a month. Since Easter weekend, 23 people have been killed and 54 shot in Chicago alone. And I wonder nationwide how many black people have been victims of senseless violence since Easter weekend. It's just devastating to us as a people and as a community. And in my humble opinion, we are in a crisis situation, and we really need to recognize what's going on with us. So the purpose of this tape is to try to connect the dots and let people know, black people, as I say, it's to them, but any and everyone who wants to listen, because I don't have to tell you, black people, there have been people of other races that have championed the cause of black people nationwide. So this is again to humanity, but it's directed again to black people. And our task, black people, is to find a way to bring more love and patience to our communities. So again, what I'm trying to do here is give you an understanding of what happened to us, why we are different from any other race in America. It's really, in my opinion, is just that we have to look back at our history, the bad history, which is hard to talk about and it's hard to acknowledge. But we must, in order for us to have more love and patience in our communities. Have you ever wondered why all of the speeches, the marches, gun turn-ins, gun control things that we put in place each year, or the CAP programs, all the positive things that people are out here doing each and every day to lessen the violence and bring more love and patience to our community. The reason that they have not resonated and worked is because of our history. Let me try to put it in perspective for you if I can. Think back, whoever you are listening to the sound of my voice, black people, think back when you were a child, your earliest memories. Who was there to nourish you or to raise you? Well, whoever raised you, that person was a child at one time and someone raised them. You have to go back through the generations and remember this is 2014. our life here today, black people, many generations ago, lived their life as well. And that's where you have to start if you want to understand what's going on with us. So let me read you something. It's called the Dred Scott decision. That's where we have to start, in 1857. The United States Supreme Court was sued on behalf of black people to say, why can't we have the same rights as other races in America? This is the decision by the Chief Justice. Now, understand this. This is our government at the time. The Dred Scott decision of 1857. And Chief Justice Roger B. Taney said, no black American, slave or free, was a citizen of the United States according to the Constitution. Blacks were property, not human beings. Now let me say that again. According to the Constitution, blacks were property, not human beings. So that's where you have to start. Remember, now understand, this is the government at the time. This was their ruling that we were not even human. So try to take that mindset going into emancipation, which was 1863 when black people were freed. We were no longer slaves and we were scattered to the four winds. Before that, understand, black people, we had no history because before that, they broke families up, sent us everywhere. But in 1863, blacks were freed. But at the same time, they really weren't free because all these laws were passed. You couldn't vote. You couldn't live in certain areas. You couldn't go in certain stores. And this was the law of the land. Understand, these laws were passed by Congress. They were systematically put in place to make black people feel less than human, to feel inferior to other races and people in America. And to this day, that's what we are living. But not to get ahead of myself, just try to think about this. Say you were a black person in 1920, for example. You're trying to live the American dream, but at the same time, there were so many things that you could not do, so many places that you could not go. They used to give jobs to the light-skinned people to foster dislike among us. And to this day, we make jokes about light-skinned and black-skinned people. That's one of the things, one of the tools that were used to make you feel less than human at the time. Also, think about the fact that you couldn't live where you wanted to. You couldn't go places. You're watching every other race in America enjoy America but you. This is what we are living today. This is handed down from generation to generation. Now again, people will say, man, why are you bringing up the past? That's slavery. That's over with. That's not over with. What we did went from one type of slavery to another. And all the bad feelings that manifested itself from 1863 to the present are what we are living now. And I can even go so far to say it started with that ruling in 1857 by Chief Justice Roger B. Taney. Again, no black American, slave or free, was a citizen of the United States. According to the Constitution, blacks were property. Now I'm telling you this, not so you get angry or hate anyone. This is not about hate. This is about understanding the journey, black people, that we have gone through and why we are different from any other race in America. Why we kill each other when we do. All these negative things that permeate our community were systematically handed down to us because of the way America had their policy set up years ago. So the point I'm trying to make, if you really want to understand what's happened to us, you have to personalize it, black people. First and foremost, think about one person in your family who would devastate you to lose. Well, every other black person loves someone the same way. But because we were so competitive years ago, there weren't that many jobs for people. It was like they put a system in our communities, black people, I'm going to get mine, you get yours. And to this day, it still resonates. That's why we have no love, no unity, no patience with each other. I want to read something to everyone. This is from an article in the Reader newspaper showing the violence over the years. In 1992, over Labor Day weekend, 28 people were killed, 79 shot. In 2003, Chicago had over 600 murders. 80% of these people killed were black. In 2008, in April, 7 people were killed, 36 shot. In 2013, matter of fact, last year, our company made a couple of tapes, and I started keeping count. From March 2 August, 50 people were killed and over 100 shot. That, again, was in 2013. You may remember how bad it was then. We had our First Lady come to Chicago. A young lady in Hyde Park area was killed. But at that time, as I remember, I was burying a cousin. On a personal note, I had 2 cousins that I lost last summer to senseless violence. Personally. What about you, black people who listen to this? Do you know someone that's touched your life? You know, I wrote this down May 7th because I do try to humbly keep abreast of what's going on in Chicago as far as the violence goes. And I wrote this down on Wednesday, May 7th of this year. Another parent's worst nightmare. Someone's child lost their life today. Senseless violence. It's a plague on black communities across this nation. And on May 10th, I wrote, a woman sitting in her yard was killed. All this violence in black communities is disheartening. Every day it seems we hear about senseless violence in our communities. And again, black people, do you ever wonder why we are the only race in America that has so much senseless violence in our community? Do you ever wonder why all the positive things that dedicated people do, you know, the rallies, gang summits, gun turn-ins, CAB meetings, every day to lessen the violence have not worked? It's because we are psychologically scarred from slavery and we don't know how to heal. And this, unpleasant as it may be, we have to bring this up because it's like a snowball effect. From 1863 to today, like you roll a snowball down a hill, as it goes, it picks up snow. Same principle. They put us on the road to self-hate, and as the years and generations went by, it just manifested itself and got worse. And I don't think anybody that can look me in the face or anyone and deny this. We were psychologically, systematically taught to dislike each other and have our communities like they are today because of the policies that America had in place from 1863 to the present. So how can we heal if we won't acknowledge that, talk about it decently in order? Again, this is not about me. It's about us understanding our journey and why so much violence goes on. I'm sitting here and this cloud flashed across the television about shootings last night. Kids playing basketball, okay? He didn't play basketball. This is going on all over this nation with us black people, not to the extent of Chicago. I understand Chicago is one of the worst as far as violence, but what's happening with us is happening all over this nation to a lesser degree, and we don't know how to address it. Maybe we've tried speeches, marches, gun turn-ins, meetings, all this. We lost hope, applied Jesus Christ. And before anyone misunderstands what I'm saying, here's an example. I was in church a few weeks ago, and the preacher said, we all want to make it to heaven. And, you know, you can't help the thoughts that jump in your mind. Immediately I thought to myself, I just want to make it home. They had just shot a brother about 3 blocks from my house a day before that. So the point I'm trying to make, we all live with this, black people in our communities, and we don't understand why. But as I said, keep in mind, it's a personal preference. I believe in God and I go to church. I'm concerned about my soul. But I know right now I catch a hell here in America on earth. And this is to the many people that don't go to church for whatever reason, that don't believe in God. You should, because you didn't come here by yourself. But having said that, that's a personal, preference of mine. Go to church and believe in God and hope that I can go to heaven someday. But right now I have to deal with, what I have to do each and every day. And please understand, at the end of the day, the Lord is in charge, but He gave man free will, the ability to choose right from wrong, and that's what's going on here as far as slavery and the aftermath of slavery. That's what we're living. And that's why I'm appealing to America, I'm appealing to the state and federal level everywhere, because it was their policies years ago that started us on this road to self-destruction and self-hate that we live each and every day and deny it and don't know how to articulate it, know how to get out of it. We need, for example, last week or a couple of weeks ago, they made the statement that they were going to hire 16 prosecutors for Chicago. Or I think it was Illinois. I think it was Chicago. And I thought to myself, we don't need 16 prosecutors. We need 16 community centers We need 16 billionaires to acknowledge that we are scarred and hurting as a people because of the policies that America had in place for so many years. Now, at the same time, we need people to acknowledge this and come down in these communities and help. They just, in my opinion, they haven't said anything about educating anyone or trying to tell these kids out here that's violent, as they say, why they act the way they do. It's a reason for it, and it's systematically was programmed for us to be this way. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I think other people, if you give it some thought, think about it, you will understand what I'm really trying to say. We don't need any prosecutors down here. We need hands-on people to come in these communities, just flooded with money, programs. I'm not saying you're going to turn around and just hand people money. You know, we all supposed to get black people 40 acres and a mule. But it's known that they really owe us something. All that is past. They, if you know anything about slavery, over hundreds of years that we were slaves. Surely this has to have some psychological effect on the people, but we won't say it, acknowledge it. They had some people of authority on TV speaking about what's fueling the violence. The guy said they need to put stricter gun laws in Chicago, and that would reduce the violence a lot. One person said we need to have better parenting. All that's good. Another guy made the statement of psychological tests should be given to a lot of kids on the South and West Side. I thought, how ridiculous is that? Then another guy said, we've lost this generation, we should just round them up. What good is that going to do? I've seen videos of kids 11, 12, and even younger making videos about killing other black people and shooting them in the head, already brainwashed into this negative violence that we have just clung to. The reason, again, is we have not acknowledged our history. It's that simple. So I understand it won't be easy, but we must find a language, a way to talk about what happened to us as a people, because we are living it each and every day of our lives. I also want to be clear, please understand what I'm advocating, unfortunately, is not a quick fix. We're not going to start loving each other overnight, and all this violence and all these kids going to juvenile homes and all these prisons they're building all over the nation for us, because most of us is what's in them. This was all systematically put in place in 1863, in my opinion, when they let us go and made all these rules, passed all these laws in Congress, mind you, specifically for black people to be segregated, put aside. Imagine going to wanting to go to a sporting event. You hear on the radio say you were born in 1930, and your kid runs in there and says, Daddy, or Mommy, can we go to the circus or whatever? But you know you're black and you're not allowed to go in it. You got to tell this to your child, that you're not allowed to go because of the color of your skin. This is what we are living. They taught us this, not liking each other. To be selfish. I'm going to get mine, you get yours. That's going on to this day. So I like to say to the people, black people who have found some measure of success, if you're doing well and you don't have to worry about walking out the door in your communities and perhaps getting shot at us down at a bus stop and losing your life like people in the hood have to do each and every day. You don't have to worry about your child going out the door and perhaps they won't get home like people in the hood have to live with each and every day. Please keep in mind that that could be you. I have a shirt that I wear every day that has a slave ship on it, and I wear it every day unless I'm going to church. I wear it every day to just remind people, and I love when people ask me why I wear the shirt, so I can tell them because this is where our journey started. No matter what level of success you may have attained in America, this is where your ancestors started, and we owe it to these people that came before us and went through so much hardship to try to love each other more and understand their journey so we can understand our journey and how we can come to have more love, unity, and patience for one another in our communities. But again, we need some help down here in these communities all across this nation and inner cities. We don't need no prosecutors rounding people up, throwing away the key. We need some education and to tell people why we act the way we do and how we got to this point in our lives. I don't care, black people, if you're a truck driver, if you're a nurse, if you're a thug, if you're a reporter, if you're a school teacher, if you're a preacher, if you're a policeman. This concerns you because your ancestors started with with this slave ship. And that's what we must remember. The generations that came before us is why we are the way we are today with one another. This divisiveness and the attitude that some black people have, it ain't got nothing to do with me. They ought to round them all up and just throw away the key. That could be you or yours down here in the neighborhood that you are forced to live with because of economic conditions. And what about all the kids out there? Please remember them that really don't want to be on this wildness that's going on, but they are scared to death not to be on it. You may remember 2013, last summer, a bunch of school kids got together and said, we are afraid to even go to school. Life is so cheap to black people, and again, it was systematically put in us to be this way. So I'm asking everyone who's listening to this, certainly want your input. What do you think? Do you think our past is the reason that we are like we are today as a people? Do you think the past, talking about it decently in order, will help us down the road to heal or to start feeling better about each other as a people? Again, my humble opinion, this is going to take generations, but we must start somewhere. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. Now, again, I don't mean to imply that this is the only answer, but I believe it's the definitive answer, along with the other things that are being done, the speeches, the marches, the organizations, attorneys. There's people out here every day risking their lives and time and energy and everything, trying to make a difference with these kids and with everyone to bring more love, unity, and patience. But we need some help down here. People of authority, people with money. We need to start a language of find a common ground. And our common ground, black people, we are descendants of slaves. So we want to focus on what unites us and not what divides us. And what unites us is the common bond we have as people that goes back generations and generations and generations. It's just personally, it bothers me a lot each and every day when I see all this violence. And I ride the bus and else every day and get on and just immediately feel the tension when you get on the bus rail, how people are so ready to hurt one another about nothing, the way all these young people just mean mug each other if they don't know each other. No other race of people treat or live like this, black people. And it's time to say this. The answer is our history. How can we put this, incorporate this into our everyday lives so we can feel better about one another and humanity as a whole? Because again, I can't emphasize that enough. It's still black people, but we still have to interact with other races of people each and every day. So what can you do to foster more love, unity, and patience among black people all over this nation? And I wanted to ask everyone, black people, to read this book. This will really give you a little insight. It's by Frederick Douglass. He was a great orator, author, and publisher, and he was instrumental on slavery being abolished. He has a book called Speeches and Writings of Frederick Douglass. You should get that to really give you some insight. And that's the whole crux of what I'm trying to say. Even though it's bad history, black people, it was our history. So you need to get into it, like what was going on in the 20s, 30s, 1940s, or the 1863. Just get into it and think about what those people went through for you to have even the freedoms that you have today that you just take for granted. That will really help you. And also, more than anything, get into your own personal history, your family, what's going on with them. Try to remember how precious they are to you. And each and every other black person that you meet, think about their family. It's precious to them too. Let's try to be more loving and patient with one another. And again, I know it sounds redundant, but that's one of the things that I say. That's what we need, some redundancy. It's like going to school when you're trying to learn a lesson. You have to go over it over and over again until it resonates and really gets into your brain and you understand it. And I can't say this enough. The crux, the root of all of our negative problems here in America, black people, is one more thing. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the music that we black people listen to. And so many people tell me that the rappers are the reason so much violence and they're fueling the violence. My personal opinion is I want to remind everyone all the negative things that people do in the black community, black people, is because we are all victims of our history. These brothers that are and sisters that are making these records that you would say some instances, some of these lyrics are like pouring gasoline on a fire. Here's the people that already have a problem with loving each other and loving themselves, and here we come with all the derogatory statements about violence. Point being, you can't go to anyone and say, you know what, that music you're making is detrimental, it's fueling violence. They have to come to that conclusion on their own. All you'll do is have a bunch of black people screaming at one another, and then once you do that, you've already lost. You have to bring some love to the equation. See, here's the point. You have right on your side. Person knows if they're doing right or wrong. So what you have to do is just go to them with history. What do you think your grandma, your great-great-grandma would say if she heard those lyrics that you're saying? You can't come to these rappers and say to them, you dirty so-and-so, you're fueling the violence. Her perfect example, it was a brother, and he was on YouTube, and he was really angry, and he was saying that they don't see what he sees. He was in the funeral business, and he said, you don't see the anguish that I see. You know, talking about all these people that think a thug life is so glamorous. You don't see what I see. These mothers' hearts breaking, and these babies is coming in here that I have to, work on. And he was really upset, and he made the point that he was going to, two rappers he singled out about, he was going to get on them, boycott their conscience and all that. And I wanted to say to him, brother, please don't do this. All you do again is have a bunch of black people screaming at one another. You have to bring love to the equation. All you can do is say to them, do you realize what you're doing? Do you understand our history? Do you understand that we were people brought over in chains and just abused in every kind of way you can think of? And this taught us not to love each other. And the music that you're putting out doesn't help the cause. You have to go to them like that. And they have to make the decision on their own. Well, maybe I need to tone this down or whatnot. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So let's don't just blame the music. That may be part of it, but the whole point is there's a lot of negative things going on in our black community. And there's also a lot of good things that are overlooked because of so much negative things. That's about all you hear about. But it's people out here doing a lot of good in black communities. We have very strong people. I can't say that enough. We've come a long way in 4 generations. I think it's been 40 generations since we've been out of slavery. But we've come a long way. We have black people in every segment of society. But my point is, our root cause is the violence and the way we treat and interact and become a people that's cliquish, clannish, churches, whatever, individuals and groups and cliques. And that's why we don't have any concrete unity, because we were taught not to have any. So we have to think about that. So anybody that's out here that's fueling the violence, they know it. They know in their heart if what they do is wrong. It's not right. But you have to let that person come to that conclusion on their own. The only thing you can do to them is just talk to them and try to make them understand what they're doing is detrimental to their race as well as themselves. And just, you got to come with love. You can't come with no anger and everything. And I want to make that clear. Let's disagree without being disagreeable with each other. That's really hard for a lot of black people to do. We don't like criticism. We don't like to be told, and we may not believe it, but that comes from our past as well. We were extremely sensitive because, especially black men, you have to understand, brother, you was a man in your home, in your community, back 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. Are you feeling what I'm saying? But the minute you step out the door and walk down the street and all these laws and things that you could not do, you felt less than a man. And that's why we are so extreme in being a man. Why we overreact a lot of times, ready to hurt each other for nothing, because we were so certainly no consolation to the two families that have lost their loved ones. But the point I'm making, and here we go again, black people every week, it's a murder and violence count across Chicago. And think about it again. How many people, black people, lost their lives senselessly across this nation this weekend? My point being, again, I want you to keep in mind, here we go again. We do this every year, every week. It's the same thing. Senseless violence that plagues our communities all across this nation. So this tape is just a humble beginning. Keep in mind, this is new to me as well. I really feel that our bad history, that really we had no way of doing anything about. This is history. This really happened to us, black people, in the past, and that's what we are living today. And my opinion is, again, the only way we can heal and bring more love, unity, and patience to our communities as we move forward with this is to talk about how we got into this in the first place. And it cannot be denied. It was the policies of America generations ago that put this self-hate, the division in black people, and started us on this road. And I really feel that the powers that be in America should step up and help in these communities. That's all I'm saying. Can we talk about this? Does this seem like a good idea to you, to use our history decently in order to heal and understand what's going on with black people today? Why we are different than any other race in America? As I said, it's because of our history, I feel. What do you think? Certainly want to get everyone's input on this, because everyone, black people, we all are in this together, believe it or not. And as we move forward, I hope to humbly make other tapes as we go on, and we can get some feedback and input. But this was just to get things started, like a catalyst. Again, this is all new to me as well. I don't think I've heard of anyone wanting to say that we need to use our history, our bad history, in order for us to be more loving toward each other as we move forward and as generations go by. So again, this is just food for thought. I think this only way to get better with this marches, the speeches, the CAP programs, the gang rallies, the gun turn-ins, everything that we've done in the past, good things that we hopefully will continue to do to bring more love, unity, and patience to our communities. But first and foremost, I think the root cause of why we can't really progress in more love, unity, and patience nationwide, black people, because we have not added our bad history. It's really hard to talk about, but I see no other way to foster more love, unity, and patience except bringing up the past. You know the old saying, the further you can see backwards, the further you will see forward. So you have to look back in order to understand what's going on with us as a people. I'm not saying this very well. I'm articulating this as best as I can, but I have no, again, no expertise in speaking or writing or any of that. I'm just